Greetings, family, and welcome to another edition of KSOL Black Talk Radio, the new black media. Today is Sunday, March 24th, 2019. Family, this video is about a video that I saw earlier. It's slightly a rebuttal, if that's what you want to call it. It's not a dig, it's not a fight, it's nothing negative if that's what you're looking for. In fact, it's something positive. But it is a rebuttal to something that I saw on Nyla Says channel. It was a panel discussion called the Saturday Evening Live, the Week in Review. It was a panel discussion with Taz, Cynthia G, Nyla Says, and a few other YouTubers that I failed to get their name, and I apologize about that, but nonetheless, it was an important discussion. And in fact, Taz made several statements, and very important ones I might add, but one in particular I happen to disagree, and that's where this rebuttal comes into play. This rebuttal is in fact regarding his statement about the fact that he didn't think a black independent party would be a good idea, and in fact I believe the opposite. And how I get my idea and my resource is from Dr. Claude Anderson. I read his book, Black History Reader, 101 Questions You Didn't Think to Ask. In chapter 38, he has a title called Should Blacks Form and Support Their Own Independent National Political Party? I think it's an important discussion, one that we should at least ponder, talk about, and discuss before we move further on. Anyways, it starts off by saying that most definitely blacks should form and support their own independent national political party. Voting is based on the core premise of quid pro quo, which means something for something. The delivery of a group's block vote should give the group the leverage to demand benefits to improve the lives of group members. Blacks then should cast their votes only to support a candidate that has promised benefits specific to our group. Whites have perfected shifting political parties according to what is best for their group self-interest. After the Civil War, blacks flocked to the Republican Party and whites left and joined the Democratic Party. Whites choose political party affiliation based upon what is best for them. Blacks tend to stay loyal to a political party even if they receive nothing in exchange for their support. Neither national political party, Republican or Democratic, has delivered specific material benefits to black Americans in the last 150 years. Political party affiliation is a diversion and straw man. It is not the real issue. From the 1500s to the late 1860s, nearly 5 million enslaved blacks did not belong to any party. From the 1860s to the late 1940s, approximately 20 million blacks belonged to the Republican Party and were Jim Crow segregated. From the 1950s to 2016, 44 million blacks belonged primarily to the Democratic Party, and they remain beneath a public policy of benign neglect. They are ignored, displaced, and treated with hateful indifference. National party affiliation does not make a difference in the way that blacks are treated. Some suggest that there are benefits to blacks splitting their allegiance between the two national parties. However, that does not strengthen blacks as a group. They are already a planned minority. Whites do not need the black vote to get a voting majority to approve whatever they want. The only way black voters can be recognized, respected, and become a powerful voting bloc is to form a national, independent, black political party. The way for blacks to acquire greater voting power would be to 1. Withdraw from both the Democratic and Republican Party, 2. Run no candidates for public office, but 3. Proclaim a willingness to vote as a solid national bloc for any political party or its candidate, regardless of color, that promises and delivers the most benefits to black Americans. The mere possibility that the black vote might be in play, that they would have to be courted with promises and follow through, that their vote might no longer be predictable, and that 44 million blacks might vote as a bloc would make it difficult for any political party or candidate to ignore black voters or take them for granted. After blacks make a declaration of political independence and form their own national black political party, they must learn to carefully articulate and then demand measurable benefits and use their leverage to reward and punish politicians. They must get out of their political rut, and if a candidate does not say their group name, which is black, not minorities, poor people, or everybody, then they should not get or give that candidate their vote. Should blacks form an independent political party? Well, family, what do you think about all that? Again, I got all of that information from Dr. Claude Anderson's A Black History Reader, 101 Questions You Never Thought to Ask. The book is an amazing read. I would suggest and recommend it to anyone wanting to know more about our black experience. And if you want to know a shortcut to the truth and get a lot of answers, I would highly suggest that book. But nonetheless, what I just spoke about is something that Dr. Claude Anderson discussed in his book. I think it's an important discussion to be had, especially when we have so many different people giving so many different opinions out here, and some, and I'm not singling out anyone or any one group or anything like that, but some ideas are reckless. And so we need to hear different ideas so that we could choose which one sounds appropriate and which direction we need to go. Because right now, from what I hear from the ADOS movement, it's disfragmented. It's not organized. And I know, as a matter of fact, on that point, I gotta agree with Taz from something I heard from what he said yesterday from someone asking him a question about ADOS, is that, first of all, ADOS is a mindset. It's a mindset that goes way before Yvette Carnell and what they're doing with the hashtag ADOS. This is a mindset that black people have been thinking about and saying long before she came along, so it's not something that she owns. So therefore, when we're talking about ADOS, we need to understand that ADOS is a subject matter that we are perfecting, and that we should use all that is good and that is positive, that is going to move us in the direction we need to be going, and throw out all that is negative, not allowing other people to hijack this movement, because after all, it is something that we should all be rallying behind. in order to accomplish a goal. This is important, family. We know and understand this. This picture here, the reason why I chose to use it is because it's a representation of where we stand here in America as Black Americans, the American descendants of enslaved Africans, otherwise known as American descendants of slaves. This picture represents our mindset that we have voted all these years blindly. We have given our votes away blindly and have expected and received absolutely nothing. And those days are over. So this picture here is a great representation that we are no longer going to be looking at our power blindfolded. On one point, I agree with Kanye West. We do need to make America great. And one way to make America great is to make her pay for her sins against the people she enslaved for 300 plus years and paid absolutely nothing for. And yet you've reaped every benefit that is owed to Black people. Not something we're asking for, something that we're begging for. It's something we earn and we are demanding. This is KSOL, Black Talk Radio, where Black media matters. Peace.